Chapter 2 of the Divine Wisdom. Of the teacher, even if he be young, illiterate, or addicted to the enjoyment of sense objects, even if he be a servant or a householder, none of these should be considered. Does anyone shun a gem that has fallen in an impure place? Illiterate here refers to one who is not versed in scriptures. In such case, one should not consider even the quality of scholarship. A worldly person should recognize only the essence. Does not a boat, though devoid of beauty and vermilion paint, nevertheless ferry passengers? The essence is the essential qualification of the teacher. Is not intellectual eminence, but capacity to impart spiritual wisdom. The unmoving self, who without effort possesses all that is movable and immovable, is consciousness, naturally calm like the sky. How can self, the one, the all-being, who moves effortlessly, all that is movable and not movable, be differentiated? To me, self is divine. I am verily divine, since I am the divine, more essential than all essences, since I am free from birth and death, calm and undifferentiated. Thus, I, free from all components, am worshipped by the gods, but being full and perfect, I do not recognize any distinctions such as gods and the like. Free, meaning not made of parts, indivisible. Worship, meaning because the divine self is the highest divinity. Recognize in the highest divine self. No distinctions and no differences are perceived. Ignorance, illusion, does not create any doubt. What shall I do, being endowed with the modifications of the mind? They arise and dissolve like bubbles in water. Ignorance is the man of the highest spiritual perception after realizing his divine identity, may live on the relative plane and thus appear enveloped by ignorance, but even then he is never unaware of his divinity. What essential thought the man of the highest spiritual perception appears to think, appears to will, etc. Yet, as the pure witness, self remains completely separate from mental activities. Thus, am I ever pervading all existence, beginning with cosmic intelligence, pervading soft, hard, sweet, and pungent substances, as pungency, coldness, or softness is none different from water. So, earth is none different from spirit. Thus, it appears to me, the Lord of the universe is devoid of all names. He is subtler than the subtlest, supreme. He is spotless, beyond the senses, beyond the mind, beyond the intellect. Lord, I, self, Lord. Where there is such a natural being, how can there be I? How can there be even you? How can there be the world? Natural existing in its natural state. That which has been described as being like ether is indeed like ether. That is consciousness, blameless, omniscient, and perfect. It does not move about on the earth or dwell in fire. It is not blown by the wind or covered by water. Space is pervaded by it, but it is not pervaded by anything. It is existing within and existing without. It is undivided and continuous. One should successfully take recourse to the objects of concentration as mentioned by the yogis in accordance with their subtlety, invisibility, and attributelessness. Take, in order to attain to the divine or dissolution in the self, one has to reach the state of infinite and undifferentiated consciousness by eliminating all mental movements. The method of this elimination is to make consciousness dwell on one object continuously by obstructing its restless tendency to dwell on multifarious objects. But the object of concentration has to be chosen carefully. The beginner chooses a big object. When he has dwelt on it continuously for some time, his consciousness becomes subtle and steady. He then chooses a subtle object to concentrate on. Gradually, he reaches a high state of concentration, but some differentiations in his consciousness still remain. There is the consciousness of himself as the concentrator of the object on which he is concentrating and of the process of concentration. Next, even these differentiations vanish, for the object of concentration dissolves, and there remains only the pure, undifferentiated consciousness, the divine. When, through constant practice, one's concentration becomes objectless, then, being divested of merits and demerits, one attains the state of complete dissolution in the self through the dissolution of the object of concentration, but not before then. For the destruction of the terrible poisonous universe which produces the unconsciousness of delusion. There is but one infallible remedy, the nectar of naturalness. Unconsciousness, etc., is delusion, which makes one unconscious of the divine reality. Naturalness is the state of pure existence, divine identity. That which has form is visible to the eye, while the formless is perceived mentally. That which is the self, being beyond existence, being beyond non-existence, is called Sufian. Sufian, neither material nor mental, i.e. beyond both. The external existence is the universe, the lower self. The inner existence is called the higher self. One should try to know that which is more interior than the inner existence, that which is like water within the kernel of the coconut. Trick knowledge or illusionary knowledge relates to what is outside. Correct knowledge to what is inside. Try to know that which is more interior than the inside, that which is like water within the kernel of the coconut. There's only one very clear moon on the full moon night. One should perceive the self like the moon, seeing duality is perversion. It is indeed in this way that intelligence becomes divided and ceases to be all comprehending. A giver attains to wisdom and is sown with millions of names. Thus, etc., by seeing duality, plurality, divided, perceiving many objects separated from one another, as in ordinary experience. Wisdom should, if it is not clouded with ignorance, perceive only unity, the all of reality at once. Such perception, according to Vedanta, is the only true perception of truth. Giver, maker of charity. The second part of this verse, and as a matter of fact, the whole verse is a little obscure. Our translation of the second part is literal. The probable meaning is when a person gives away all attachment, thereby attaining perfect renunciation, being free of all grasping, he attains the knowledge of the self. The Sanskrit data for the word giver also means teacher. Whoever, whether he be ignorant or learned, attains to the full awareness of truth through the grace of a teacher's wisdom, becomes detached from the ocean of worldliness. Ignorant means devoid of scholarship learned in the scriptures. is free from attachment and hatred, devoted to the good of all beings, fixed in knowledge, and steady, shall attain to the divine state, as the space within a pot dissolves in a universal space when the pot is broken. So, a Sufian, in the absence of the body, dissolves into the divine self, which is the true way. It has been said that the destiny of those devoted to action is the same as their thought at the end. But it has not been said that the destiny of those established in Sufa is the same as their thought at the end. And the dying moment. The belief in India, clearly expressed in the Bhagavad Gita, is that the last thought in the mind of the dying person indicates the nature of his future existence. This is not true, however, of one who has attained to the knowledge of the self. One may express the destiny of those devoted to action with the organ of speech, but the destiny of the Sufa can never be expressed because it is transcendental. Knowing this, one never says that the Sufian have any particular path. For them, it is given up of all duality. The divine attainment comes of itself. Particular, meaning departing souls reach their destined worlds following either the path of the fathers or the path of the mothers. The Sufian, after death, does not travel along any path, having already attained the highest, which has nothing to do with any specific place or specific time. The Sufian has no world to reach. Supreme, etc., the divine truth which the Sufian attains after transcending all duality is ever present, eternal and absolute, so cannot be spoken of in terms of relative existence or relative truth. When the sense of duality is destroyed, this truth at once reveals the self. Even as the sun is seen shining when the clouds disperse, the Sufian, having died anywhere in a holy place or in the house of an untouchable, does not see the mother's womb again. He is dissolved in the supreme untouchable. In Indian, because of the caste system, there's a class of people called untouchable because they are considered impure. He who has seen his divine self, which is innate, unborn, and incomprehensible, does not. If anything desired happens to him, becomes tainted. Being free from taint, he never performs any action. The man of self-restraint, or the ascetic, therefore, is never bound. being free from the taint of ignorance, which makes the average man seek desirable objects and avoid undesirable ones. He is really in act. He attains to the supreme divine self, who is eternal, pure, fearless, formless, and supportless, who is without body, without desire, beyond the pairs of opposites, free from illusion and of undiminished power. Pairs which are all relative. He attains to the supreme, eternal self, in whom exists no vita, no initiation, no tonsure, no teacher, no disciple, no perfection of symbolic figures, no hand posture, or nothing else. In ritual worship, geometrical figures drawn on metal, stone, or any apparatus are sometimes used as symbols of divinity. Hand posture is called mudras, used as an art of rare ritualistic worship. 33. He attains to the supreme eternal self, in whom is neither Sabhavi, Sati, nor a Navi, initiation, neither a spear, nor an image, nor a foot, nor anything else, neither beginning nor ending, nor a jaw. The disciple must practice according to these instructions to gain spiritual knowledge. He attains to the divine self, from whose essence the universe of movable and immovable objects is born, in whom it rests and into whom it dissolves, even as foam and bubbles are born of the transformation of water. He attains to the supreme, eternal self, in whom is no closing of nostril, nor gazing, nor posture, and in whom is neither knowledge, nor ignorance, nor any nerve current. In the practice of pranayama, or breath control, each nostril is closed with a final in order to breathe only with the other nostril. He attains the divine eternal self, who is not mind, who is not intelligence, who is not body, who is not senses, who is not egoism, who is neither the subtle elements, nor the five gross elements, nor the nature of space. When injunction ceases and the Sufian attains to the supreme self, his mind being void of differentiations, he has neither purity nor impurity. His contemplation is without distinguishing attributes, and even what is usually prohibited is permissible to him. Injunctions, prescriptions given by the scriptures to a spiritual aspirant in regard to what he should practice. The Sufian, who has attained to the divine, is beyond the need of such prescriptions. Realizing himself as the divine, he may act in even and apparently evil way, just as God does some apparently evil things in his creation. 40. Where mind and speech can utter nothing, how can there be instruction by a teacher, to the teacher ever united with Allah, who has said these words, the divine truth shines out. Peace and K.O.S.